Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker Chad Muma was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 13 years old and is now championing other young athletes with the same diagnosis through his Muma Movement Foundation. Chad, welcome to River City Plus. You are 1 week out from camp. How are you feeling?
I am feeling good. The camp kind of, energizes you a little bit, but it was a fun little camp and I'm excited to be here.
I'm really excited to have you. Now, this camp is something that is has really become a great project for you, especially in the summer. I know it's tough because you're getting ready for season, all the things that you have to do, but you take this time to dedicate to athletes who have this same diabetic diagnosis. How do you feel getting to show them that this kind of, I would say, health challenge, it does exist in the NFL and that you're able to overcome it and manage it responsibly every day when you're out there performing on the field?
Yeah, I think it's super important just to be able to show the kids that, whatever you want to accomplish, it's achievable. And, that was something as a kid that, when I was first diagnosed, I always wanted to play football and be active in sports. And I didn't know if that was possible when I was first diagnosed. And you quickly learn, that's not the case. But then you're looking for professional athletes with type 1 diabetes. And so being able to be in the position that I am today where I can kind of show those kids that, it was my dream to play in the NFL despite having my diabetes and being able to actually do it and prove to them that it's possible. I want the same thing for their minds to be like, whatever it is I want to go achieve, I'm going to do it despite having type 1.
And so with that type 1 diagnosis, what are some of the things that you remind the kids? Because a lot of times when you do have a diagnosis like this, you don't want to necessarily stop to check your levels. It's tough to be mindful because you're really enjoying being a kid. It is a challenge and something else that these kids have to factor in, but they're not letting that stop them when it comes to having a great day at camp. But I think it's great that you show them, hey, we're going to see where you start, we're going to see where you end, we're going to be mindful of all these things because it's just something that you put into your pre and post game routine as an athlete.
Yeah, and I think it's important to recognize that you do have type 1, but at the same time, I think all these kids that are coming out to the camp, they want to understand, what do I do to manage my diabetes while I'm out there? And so it's important to let them know what I like to keep my number around. So for the camp, we kind of layered it out where it's almost like a day in the life as a professional type 1 diabetic. And so they're going through, different things in the meetings. And when we get on the field, just like I do, I test my blood sugar and make sure that, I'm in the right spot. And then halfway through our camp, we tested our blood sugar once again and said, all right, what are our numbers at right now? And then after the camp, we all checked again. So it's the continuous management of just making sure, the blood sugar is in the right spot. If we need some insulin, let's do it. If we need some sugar, let's do it. And just make sure that you're able to stay active the whole time and not let your diabetes take you out of the game.
Right. I think that's fantastic. A great message that you're sending. And I also noticed that you had a lot of parents present there. Do you want to encourage parents to, it's really easy. I only have 2 dogs, so I can't say that I know what parents think, but I know that it has to be challenging, sending your kid to camp where you're not going to be able to watch them, you're not going to be able to help them monitor those levels. But did you get to advocate with the parents and advocate to say, let your children go out, let them hit the field, let them play full force, and give them that autonomy to manage it themselves?
Yeah, it was really cool. For this camp, we, despite compared to the year before, we invited my parents out to have a parents panel in addition to my fiance. And so parents were able to ask my parents exactly, what they did with my diabetes as I was diagnosed and, what kind of led them to helping me gain more control as I went into high school and started driving and being on my own. And so I think that the parents really enjoyed that aspect of having, my parents there where they can ask the firsthand questions that, they may not be able to ask me. But I think the parents were able to take a lot from that. And it was a short amount of time. But even when we were on the field with the kids, the parents were still coming up to my parents and asking them even more questions. So that was definitely very useful to have this year.
What do you think the number one question was that your parents got? What was the thing everybody really wanted to know from that parent panel?
Oh man, I mean, I was with the kids for that portion of it, but afterwards talking with my family, A lot of parents have worry with the high school portion because there are a lot of younger kids. And so it's really just being able to trust their own kids with having type 1 and being able to manage it on their own, and just trusting that, if their blood sugar goes low or if it goes too high, they'll be able to make the correct management that they need to and right treatments for it. And so I think it's just that, ease of mind that, I wasn't perfect when I was a kid, when I was first diagnosed, but my parents kind of let me have the reins of controlling my own diabetes. And I think it helped me really grow up and understanding that, this is a serious disease, but at the same time, it's going to be something that I'm going to have the rest of my life, and I got to be able to know how to manage it myself.
So, Chad, obviously, we've all come through different situations where we've needed to be our own advocate, whether it's on or off the field. But children with this diagnosis really have an extra challenge because you can face that old school mentality of, play through the pain and, makes you tougher and this, that, and the other. They're going to encounter that. How do you differentiate between that and making sure that you're really being conscientious of your health? And how do you articulate that as a kid?
Yeah, no, it's super difficult when, you come across those situations where someone might not have the great knowledge of type 1 diabetes. And it's really being upfront with those, people, whether it's a coach, whether it's a teacher. It's just having that open conversation saying, this is something that I have type 1 diabetes. And something I kind of told the kids last week was, take that first week that you meet someone, whether it's the coach or the teacher, and say, I have type 1 diabetes. This is what happens when I go low. This is what happens when I go high. It's really just giving them the knowledge that they maybe never had on type 1 diabetes. And I feel like that helps out the most.
So advocating and also educating those around you, which is, again, something else that these children have to handle and manage. So I love the fact that you're showing them exactly how you did it, explaining that to them, bringing their parents into the conversation, because they deserve to have that time on the court, on the field, wherever it might be, to make sure that they get to explore all that childhood has to offer. Now, let's talk about the things that you do around the year. Obviously, this is a very small portion of your year, but what are some of the other things that your foundation is doing to make sure that they continue to push this message?
Yeah, so our foundation that my fiance and I created is called the Muma Movement Foundation. And we like to say, don't sit still with type 1. And so year round, the camp obviously is a huge portion of it, but it's always promoting that, having type 1 diabetes, we're always promoting movement, and we don't want you to, sit still from achieving what you want to achieve in your life. And, that was really important for me to have as a kid. And, some other things that, we're implementing and it's that we're going to do this year, just now that we finally have the foundation under wraps, is, we're going to be sponsoring kids and families that, can't afford all of the diabetes supplies that it really takes to manage your diabetes. I was fortunate enough to be able to afford an insulin pump, be able to afford a CGM, and the diabetes technologies have really advanced. And so it's supporting those families that can't maybe afford everything that it entails. Maybe it's just affording insulin. Insulin can be expensive for some families that, it's something that you need. Your body can't produce it and you can't live without it. And so those are a couple things that our foundation is doing. And
we have My Claws, My Cleats coming up during the season. Are you excited to be able to share your own foundation as your personal cause?
Yeah, I'm super excited this year. This being the first year that we have created the foundation and it is up and running. I'm excited to be able to put that on my cleats come November and just bring even more awareness to type 1 diabetes and the Muma Movement Foundation and what we're trying to do with that.
If people want to stay connected with you, if they want to share you as a resource and follow along with everything that the foundation is going to be doing this year, what's the best place to do that?
Yeah, so the best place right now, as we're still building out our website, is to just go through my social media. So it's just going to be at Chad Muma, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram. That's the best place to see all the information that we're going to be posting. Once we have our website up and running, that I'll be posting that on my socials.
Fantastic. Well, Chad, I know you got to go because we don't sit still with type 1, right?
Right. Got to go get after this workout right now. So I appreciate your guys' time today.
Awesome. We're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much for sharing your morning with us.
Thank you so much.